The Cannabist is a website dedicated to the news and culture reporting around legal marijuana.
Everything you need in marijuana: news, views, reviews. I spend a lot of time thinking about pot.
We didn't know what it was going to look like, what it was going to feel like. We didn't know what legalization was going to look like, but that's the whole point behind the Cannabist. I started the website in November of 2013 after former Denver Post editor Greg Moore asked me to start a website about weed. At the Denver Post, we are the largest news gathering operation in Colorado.
It's somewhere where you can go and you can get a little bit of culture, but really what you're getting is you're getting the journalistic approach to this industry, which really doesn't exist. People think of pot and they think of Jamaican Flags and High Times Magazine and all these other very advocate-based journalism groups, and there's really no newspaper group. And that's how we approach it. We report on culture the same way we report on pesticides.
The people who are anti-legalization have very valid concerns, fearing that this is going to find its way into children's hands more prevalently now. John Hickenlooper, who's our governor, our former mayor, our current mayor of Denver, Michael Hancock, neither of these individuals were pro-marijuana, were pro-recreational, pro-legalization. They did not want this, but the people did. And so Hancock and Hickenlooper both took it upon themselves to implement the will of the people, and that's what we've seen. If I had children, I wouldn't want them smoking weed or using marijuana until their brain was fully developed. They always think, oh, you're the weed editor. It's the coolest job. And well, it is the coolest job, and we want to be the authority on cannabis journalism. We've been covering weed for a very long time, going back to medical legalization in 2000 and recreational legalization in 2012, and then kind of in between when they finally regulated the medical system in 2009, which was when the dispensary boom happened and when we suddenly found ourselves with more medical marijuana shops than Starbucks.
Every journalist has an opinion on anything that they're going into and anything that they're reporting on. And while we're journalists, we're not advocacy journalists. You're dealing with prejudices on both sides, and you have to find that true, honest center. Like, this isn't a bad industry, but it's not always a great industry either, and you just have to always check yourself and just remember, you're not friends, you're the watchdog.
When is the brain fully developed? Is it 18? Is it 21? Some even say 25, but it's a part of the conversation that absolutely needs to be heard. And when you look at the regulation that's happened in this space, statewide and in local municipalities as well, I mean, all of the stakeholders have had a very big part in that conversation. I can honestly say that's been a success of this Colorado model, is realizing that what you're putting out there the first time in history that any government has ever tried to regulate and tax these kinds of sales, it's going to be imperfect. It's going to need input from the community and from stakeholders, and hopefully your own regulation and approach can become better through those tweaks.
The scene in Colorado is really trying to find itself right now. We're moving past the stoner stereotypes. Stoner jokes are old hat. Nobody really wants to hear them anymore. When Colorado sets its mind to something, it's gonna happen, and it happens quickly. It's very cool to watch.
If it came down to one thing that I've learned in the last 2.5 years, it's probably we've been lied to so much on this subject, and so it feels great to be a part of, you know, this movement. It's not a pro-legalization movement, it's a pro-truth movement, pro-journalism, and that's what we're doing here at the Post. This is a phenomenally historic time to be witnessing.